First at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
Rescue mission continues into tragic Berwala boat capsize. Bar Association election postponed until further notice. In international headlines, diplomatic row over Kim Jong-nam killing. And in sports, Matthews and Gunratna sold in IPL bids. Good evening, live across Sri Lanka. This is Other Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's premier news channel. Welcome to News Tonight on this day, the 20th of February 2017. I'm Mahesh Johnny, and thank you for making us a part of your evening. Now here's a first look at the local stories. Sri Lanka Navy restarted missions to search for the mission from a boat that capsized yesterday in the seas of Katukurunda. The tragedy caused 11 casualties and the bodies were handed over to their relatives after post-mortem examinations. 32 others are reported to be injured. The number of people on the boat at the time is still unknown. St. Lazarus Church in Katukurunda organized a fishing boat procession for the annual church feast carrying the holy statue of St. Lazarus. Around 20 boats with pilgrims left the Berwala fishing harbour at Kaluthara last evening. One of the boats capsized when it attempted to sail back to Berwala. Fishermen in Katukurunda, Payagala and Berwala attempted to save victims with the assistance of Sri Lanka Navy. The Navy deployed 3 Doras while the Air Force deployed a Bell 212 helicopter for the rescue mission. The injured were admitted to the Nagoda and Berwala hospitals. Meanwhile, victims admitted to Berwala Divisional Hospital shared their experience.
බෝට්ටුවේ පැත්තක් බර වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ බෝට්ටුව පෙරළුණා.
කට්ටිය අර බය වුණ හැටියම අනිත් පැත්තට ගියේ.
බෝට්ටුව ASCII මාව හිර වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ එතන දොරක් තිබ්බ දොර ASCII මං ගිහිල්ලා උඩට ගිහිල්ලා බෝට්ටුව අල්ලගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ අංකල්ලා කට්ටියක් ඇවිල්ලා මේ බෝල වගේද මේව අල්ලගන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ මං ඒව අල්ලගෙන ටික වෙලාවක් ගියාට පස්සේ අංකල්ලා කට්ටියක් අපි වෙන බෝට්ටුවකට ගත්තා.
Among the victims is a child of the age of 7 whose life was claimed. In the meantime, the Navy and fishermen were able to recover the capsized boat. Meanwhile, fishermen say that the tragic accident occurred due to an overcrowded boat that did not follow safety measures. Meanwhile, in a special discussion convened today, Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development Mahinda Amaraveera ordered an immediate report after investigations into the incident. The Director General of the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources was also advised to cancel licenses of fishing boats carrying passengers violating directions of the ministry. In other local stories, Finance Minister Ravi Karunanika told heads of procurement agencies and decision makers from the South Asian region that the government has been able to stabilize the economy through systematic and concerted efforts. He said this speaking at the inauguration of the 4th South Asia Regional Public Procurement Conference in Colombo today.
President Maithripala Sirisena inaugurated the conference, which aims at providing a platform for heads of procurement and other key stakeholders in South Asia to meet and learn from one another. The conference is hosted by the Department of Public Finance, Ministry of Finance, and is co-sponsored by the World Bank, Asian Development Bank and the Islamic Development Bank. The government believes the conference will pave the way to achieve objectives of sustainable development through a novel economic and social environment.
We inherited an absolute economic perilous situation. In the process, we had $1.1 billion of unpaid monies that were contracted by the previous regime without the tendering process. All of that have come on to the President and the government, and we have, owing to financial discipline, managed to steer clear and able to bring it into good order. So I guess this is a good country to learn from what has gone on and how changes have taken place. We were able to ensure that economy that was negative in outlook was given a rating of stable economy. And as a result, the multilateral agencies, I must mention World Bank, the IMF and the ADB have been tremendous support to us and come up with a theme out of Sri Lanka as to how that we are able to not reduce corruption, eradicate corruption. Where are the roadblocks? Sometimes the blame's all put on the politician, not knowing that the bureaucracy itself sometimes is part of the problem. Let us get together and ensure that we have a Sri Lankan team that comes in with procurement that is clean, crisp and efficient.
The 4th SAARC Public Procurement Conference will continue until Thursday in Colombo and Kandy.
Now, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe points out that local investments alone will be insufficient to achieve the envisaged rapid development in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister made these comments during an awards ceremony held for entrepreneurs of the Kegol district.
36 entrepreneurs representing the Kegol district were recognized at the awards ceremony.
මහනුවර නගරේ දියුණු කරන්න සංවර්ධන වැඩසටහනක් ඇති කරන්න ජපානයේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ආධාර අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා.
We have received funds from the Japanese government to develop the Kandy city and create a development plan. We will make Bogambara a center for tourism and culture. We started the central highway for that purpose. We also have to develop the local investors. Local investors should work with foreign investors. Then local investors can enter certain markets. For certain markets, we need the knowledge of foreign investors. Once we enter that market, the local investors can sustain their business within that market. That's what we did to the apparel industry. To reach a quick development, our funds are not sufficient.
එම දියුණුව අනික අපේ මුදල් පමණ මදි. මේ රටේ ශීඝ්‍ර සංවර්ධනයක් ඇති කරන්න.
On to the latest on the saga with the Saitam issue. Several protests continue to be held against the South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine today. Meanwhile, addressing media today, the Government Medical Officers Association threatened island-wide trade union action if the government fails to solve the issue of private medical colleges.
As revealed last week, the Government Medical Officers Association has initiated a provincial level continuous trade union action from today onwards. We have initiated it from the Ua province, and initially we declared it a 4 hours token strike, but today morning all the branches from the Ua province has get together and decided that the TO will be extended for 24 hours, and from tomorrow onwards the other provinces will join.
Meanwhile, the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Chairman of the Sri Lanka Medical Council, Professor Carlo Fonseca, expressed views regarding the Saitam issue.
විවිධ හමුදාවේම වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ හිඟයක් තිබුණා.
There was a shortage of doctors in the three forces. That shortage still exists. So our goal was to find a solution to this problem by establishing a new medical faculty. I could say that the Kothalawala medical faculty is up to the standard of other medical faculties in the country. Some made accusations against me saying that I forcefully established the faculty. But then Professor Carlo Fonseca will be able to answer to those allegations against me because it was him and other professionals who gave instructions to establish the institute.
පීඩයක් වෛද්‍ය පීඨ නෝ නම් මොකද අපිට ඒකේ අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තිබුණා.
එතුමාට මගේ හිතේ ටිකක් බයක් තිබුණා ඒ කාලේ හැබැයි මේක නම් කෙරුවේ බයට නෙමෙයි.
I was a bit afraid of him at the time, but I did not do this project out of fear. It was a medical faculty with a higher standard. The first batch consisted of around 25 students who were directly sent to the University of Ruhuna later on. But is the Malame University like that? It is one that seeks only a commercial value by providing a service. So tell me, friends, can I give the responsibility of our patients to people who are not even properly trained just because the law says so? In order to protect the rights of the patients, I will not do anything of that sort, even if the law demands me of it. We will go to the Supreme Court and request to give us a better solution than this. On to one of our headline stories. Elections to choose the next president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has been postponed until further notice. Bar Association elections were scheduled to be held tomorrow.
Ramanathan Kannan Mahadikara Minusuraya Patkirim Sambandin.
The Judicial Services Association denounced the appointment of High Court Judge Ramanathan Kannan. They were in dispute whether the Bar Association had sent a letter to the President recommending his appointment. The Bar Association said that none of their responsible entities, such as the Executive Committee, had not sent any such recommendations letter to the President. However, during the same meeting, Chairman of the Bar Association made it clear that he had sent a recommendation letter to the President which he has received from the attorneys of Badiklo. Therefore, a dispute occurred within the Bar Association. Judicial Services Association demand to nullify the appointment of High Court judge, but then the appointment was done by the President, so it is up to him to take further action. That is the main reason why the Judicial Services Association is in dispute. We always had a very good relationship with them, and the Bar Association does not want to ruin that relationship at any cost. If the Judicial Services Association is facing injustice, we will always stand up with them to face this challenge. There was a similar protest against the appointment of Mrs. Shirani Bandaranaike as well. However, it is the first time the Judicial Services Association is in dispute regarding the appointment of a High Court judge. Meanwhile, addressing a media briefing today, parliamentarian Uday Gammanpilla asked the President to apologise to the public regarding his alleged involvement in the appointment of High Court Judge Ramanathan Kannan.
President Sirisena has appointed Mr. Ramanathan Kannan as a judge of High Court from the private bar. Mr. Kannan has failed twice the examination for magistrates. So he failed to get recruited as a magistrate in 2004 as well as in 2007. There are 4 blunders committed in this issue. Firstly, President has directly and grossly intervened with the independence of the judiciary. Secondly, first time in the history, a political party has recommended the lawyer to appoint as a judge of High Court. Thirdly, first time in the history, again, so many records, a person who repeatedly failed to be a magistrate has been appointed as a judge of High Court. Fourthly, this is first time within last 26 years to appoint a member of private bar to High Court. All these blunders were committed by this government. People have great doubt in their minds about the independence of the judiciary because of this incident. So President Sirisena, if he genuinely interested in serving the independence of the judiciary, moreover, public confidence about the judiciary, he should apologize for what he did and he should give a pledge that he will not intervene with the judiciary hereafter. Unless he does that, Sri Lanka further sliding down in international indices for independence of the judiciary.
Also, leader of the Pivithuru Urume parliamentarian Uday Gammanpilla today challenged Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake to initiate legal action against him. These comments come in the wake of Minister Karunanayake responding to allegations made by parliamentarian Gammanpilla recently.
Pivithuru Urume leader Uday Gammanpilla accused Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake on the 15th of this month for incurring losses of more than 6 billion rupees through a budget proposal on vehicle assembly. Refuting allegations, Minister Karunanayake said that he will initiate legal action against MP Gammanpilla for defamation. Meanwhile, the Pivithuru Urume leader reacted to this, addressing a media conference in Colombo.
Minister Karunanayake, you are not the first one to warn me about defamation cases, but so far nobody has filed such cases. So I am eagerly waiting, not only eagerly and impatiently waiting for your lawsuit, because then I will get the forum, what I missed at the TV debate, to explain this corruption charge to you as well as the general public in a convincing manner.
Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Nima Siripala De Silva asserts that Sri Lanka Freedom Party will not agree to a federal system of governance through the proposed constitution. Addressing the SLFP Women's Conference in Badula yesterday, Minister De Silva refuted an earlier statement made by parliamentarian Uday Gammanpilla. The constitution that is to be introduced may be a unitary one. Although it is unitary by name, it will definitely have federal features. We should not be deceived by the outward look. Uday Gammanpilla has said that the constitution has been made. He said that this constitution has federal features, although it is not visibly known. No such constitution is made. If something is made, it should be tabled in parliament. How can we prepare a horoscope when not knowing the child's birth time? These statements just provoke the people. The SLFP will only support a constitution sans federalism.
Federal පාලනයක් සඳහා නොයන ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් සඳහා තමයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්නේ.
In other local stories, the Fourth Magistrates Court ordered to further remand former Minister Vimal Weerawansa, who was arrested on charges of misusing state vehicles. Parliamentarian Vimal Weerawansa was ordered to be remanded until March 6th, when he was produced before the Fourth Magistrates Court this morning. The officials from the FCID said that preliminary investigations into the case against the former minister is concluded. Meanwhile, the second suspect of the case, former Deputy General Manager of the State Engineering Corporation, was released on a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and 2 personal sureties of 100,000 rupees each. Time now to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. On to business news now. Stocks were lower after the close today as losses in the power and energy, land and property and healthcare sectors led shares lower. At the close, the Colombo Stock Exchange all-share fell 0.33%. With all the details of the day's trading, here's RM Sivananda from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The benchmark all-share price index lost 20.36 points to close at 6,139.51, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index lost 5.56 points to close at 3,538.07. The turnover was 728.87 million rupees with 21.9 million shares changing hands in 2,501 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,706.68 billion rupees. Top 5 gainers of the day were Horna Plantation, Sonamal Financial Services, Singaputra Finance, Lanka Tiles and Tessegro, while the top 5 losers were York Arcade, Singaputra Finance Reference Shares, Xstar, Sierra Cables and Namanukula Plantations. Today, there were 4 crossings and the crossing turnover was 335.72 million rupees. Today's foreign purchases was 229.83 million rupees and the foreign sales was 264.71 million rupees.
Well, how will traders perform and what are the things to look out for at the Colombo Stock Exchange? With all that information, here's Dimantha Matthews from First Capital Holdings with the weekly forecast.
We expect the market to have less activity with low investor interest as the higher interest rates are weighing negatively on the market. The overall investor sentiment is likely to remain weak, while bargain hunting on attractive counters is likely to continue as the long-term investors look to take strategic positions.
The Sri Lankan rupee traded weaker today on dollar demand from importers and foreign banks as foreign investors sold government securities amid concerns of further depreciation in the rupee. Rupee forwards were active with 1-month forwards trading at 153 rupees and 40 cents per dollar, weaker from Friday's close. Now here's a look at the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies during the day today. Also in other business stories, Minister of Industry and Commerce Rishad Baduddin claims that market prices of rice was increased due to a conspiracy of businessmen in collaboration with an anti-government group. Speaking at a press briefing, the minister also asked not to blame local rice millers for the crisis, while hinting that Sri Lanka has not decided on a country from which to import buffer stocks, but is ready to place the order for imports. Minister Baduddin said that they need 200,000 metric tons of rice monthly.
හතරක් දැන් තියෙනවා ලංකාව හාල් මාකට් එකට දාන්න පුළුවන් හාල් දැන් දාන්න සූදානම් නැත්නම් දාගෙන ඉන්නවා මේ සමහර ව්‍යාපාරියෝ මේ ආණ්ඩු විරෝධී කණ්ඩායම.
Now to take a short commercial break, we'll be right back. On to sports news now. In a stunning chase, Sri Lanka beat Australia by 2 wickets in the second T20 match played at Geelong in Australia. Sri Lanka has claimed an unassailable 2-0 series win with 1 match yet to be played.
Deciding to bowl after winning the toss, Sri Lanka was able to restrict the Kangaroos to 173 all out in their 20 overs. Australian opener Aaron Finch failed to build a partnership as he was dismissed when the total was 18. However, Michael Klinger successfully contributed 43 of 37 balls. Becoming the highest contributor to Australia, Moises Henriques made an unbeaten 56 runs of 37. Delivering outstanding spells, the Sri Lankan bowlers picked quick Australian wickets. Nuwan Kulasekara picked 4 for 31, showing his best T20 bowling figures. Chasing 174, Sri Lanka failed to make a good start as captain Upul Taranga was caught when Sri Lanka was at a total of 5. Sri Lanka quickly lost wickets and was standing at a loss of 5 batsmen for 41. Asela Gunaratne and Chamara Kapugedera, however, helped the Lions fight back after. Kapugedera supported with 32 runs of 32 balls. With a daunting challenge of 36 of 12 balls, Asela Gunaratne ensured that Sri Lanka pulled through until the last ball. Needing 2 runs to win in the last ball, Gunaratne cleared the boundary in style, pushing Sri Lanka's total to 176. He made an unbeaten 84 runs in 46 balls in only his 6th T20 international. Without a doubt, Asela Gunaratne, with an innings of 6 boundaries and 5 sixes, was named Man of the Match.
Michael Slater. Unbelievable, unbelievable. They deserve to be jumping up and down.
What a wonderful match it was. Well, today the stage was set for the 2017 IPL auction where 356 names went under the hammer in Bengaluru, India. England's Ben Stokes fetched the highest bid for this year's version of one of the most exciting cricketing events of the calendar, played by franchise teams representing Indian cities.
Many upcoming players were on the spotlight with Ben Stokes, Eoin Morgan, Angelo Matthews, Patrick Cummins, Mitchell Johnson and Chris Wokes attracting the highest reserve price. England all-rounder Ben Stokes became the Indian Premier League's most expensive foreign player after rising Pune Super Giants bought him for $2.16 million. England's Thymal Mills received the second highest bid of $1.8 million by Royal Challengers Bangalore. Angelo Matthews was sold for 45 million rupees to Delhi Daredevils. Asela Gunaratne was sold to Mumbai Indians for 6.7 million rupees, while Lasith Malinga was sold for 170 million rupees. Reportedly, Kings 11 Punjab has the highest auction purse with rupees 230 million, while Mumbai Indians had the least purse with rupees 111 million. Captain of rising Pune Super Giants was axed this year, while Australian Mitchell Starc ended his association with Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Moving on to international news, President of the European Union, Jean-Claude Juncker, said ahead of a meeting with US Vice President Mike Pence that the United States needs a strong and united European Union. Pence said that earlier that the Trump administration was looking at ways to deepen the US relationship with the European Union. The EU president also said that this relationship was a key factor to world stability.
The global stability is heavily depending on the good relations between the United States of America and the European Union. I do think that the US needs a strong, united European Union on all possible issues.
Vice President Mike Pence spent the weekend in Germany seeking to reassure Europeans that Trump was committed to the NATO Defense Pact, but left some unconvinced. Juncker highlighted the need to maintain the connection strong between the US and the 28-member bloc.
We will address all the items, issues, subjects which are common to Europe and which sometimes can give the impression that we are raising divergences. I don't think that the moment has come to divide the US and the European Union. We are partners for so many decades.
Pence is the highest-ranking member of the Trump team to travel to Europe, and his trip comes amid turbulence at the White House and uncertainty in Europe about Trump's foreign policy. He earlier met with European Council President Donald Tusk and EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini and will meet with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg later in the day. Also in international news, footage from the Kuala Lumpur airport cameras purportedly showing the assault on Kim Jong-nam, half-brother of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, emerged today as a diplomatic row between Malaysia and North Korea escalates. The eldest son of former North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-il in mysterious circumstances on Monday last week. CCTV footage released by Japanese broadcaster Fuji TV purportedly showed Kim Jong-nam being assaulted at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport by a woman who is believed to have wiped a fast-acting poison on his face. Meanwhile, Malaysia recalled its envoy in North Korea and summoned North Korea's ambassador in Kuala Lumpur to seek an explanation to his accusations that Malaysian authorities were colluding with external forces to investigate the slaying of Kim Jong-un's estranged half-brother. South Korean and US officials have said the killing was probably carried out by North Korean agents. 45-year-old Kim Jong-nam, who was living in the Chinese territory of Macau under Beijing's protection, has spoken out publicly against his family's dynastic control of isolated nuclear-armed North Korea. Iraq's Ministry of Defense released a footage of its airstrikes on Islamic State targets in the western flank of the northern city of Mosul. Commander of the Army Aviation said Iraqi helicopter carried out 22 sorties, killing 93 Islamic State militants yesterday. US-backed Iraqi forces yesterday launched a ground offensive to dislodge Islamic State from their remaining stronghold in Mosul in the western part of the city and put an end to their ambitions for territorial rule in Iraq. Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi announced the start of the offensive in the northern Iraqi city. Islamic State militants are essentially under siege in western Mosul along with an estimated 650,000 civilians after they were forced out of the eastern part of the city in the first phase of an offensive that concluded last month after 100 days of fighting. Up to 400,000 civilians could be displaced by the offensive as residents of western Mosul suffer food and fuel shortages and markets are closed, according to the United Nations. Weather news coming up next. Stay with us. On to the weather forecast for tomorrow. The rainy conditions is expected to reduce again and likely to enhance from the 24th of February, particularly in the southern half of the island. Showers or thundershowers will occur in the Sabaragamuwa, southern and Uwa provinces in the late afternoon. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. There may be temporary localized strong winds during thundershowers. If you are planning on being outdoors, please make sure to be careful during thundershowers as there could be lightning activity. Well, here's your city by city forecast. Well, that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. For the very latest in international biz, sports and weather, you can log on to www.otherderana.lk. Also be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Other Derana. It's good to know that you were watching tonight. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Well, before we go, we want to leave you with visuals of an Indonesian naval ship that arrived at the Colombo port on a goodwill visit. A ship, Sri Sultan Iskandar Muda, was accorded a traditional naval welcome. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.